This is Things I Found Online, where radio legends are exploring the internet. Today, I am Louise Palanker. Tomorrow, I probably will be as well. We have with us Aaron Linker, Lori Roggenkamp, Jilly Halperin, and Sean Lusk. We're going to be talking about Tinder. We're going to be rocking some Tinder profiles, learning some Tinder pickup lines. We in the booth we have John Maddox and Lane McFadden, and on deck we have married lady Dina Friedman. Did you meet your fella on the Tinder?
No, I was telling them that
You're not on mic. That was a yes or no answer.
No.
As we open the show and explain it and describe it and get everyone excited about it, you got to be tight. And I have not. I'm working. Those are goals of mine. Like, learn how to be tight up top.
Oh.
Okay. So we're going to learn about Tinder. And we have a YouTube that I lined up to teach everybody about Tinder. Do you have that, Lane? Okay, so this is all about Tinder. All right. Here we go. So how to use Tinder. How to use Tinder.
Cutting firewood into desired lengths is best done with a camp stove. Preparing kindling and tinder for
This took me way too long to get it. That's sad.
Oh, okay. Oops, my bad. Wrong Tinder. Sorry. Although that
I was like, they made an actual video on how to use Tinder. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory.
Excellent way to meet people. It's like, let's go make some
go
Tinder.
in the woods.
More of a healthy way, I feel like.
I can't wait for that guy to be like, why are so many people watching my video right now? What is so popular about this video?
They're like, wait, where the ladies at?
Yeah.
Oh, so there actually is a real video on how to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotta take it step by step.
So you guys can talk over it, because if you've set up a profile, you know more than I do about setting up a profile.
You don't have one?
I don't have it.
I would expect you to have one.
Yeah, you gotta
anybody.
get on Tinder, Wheezy. I mean,
Yeah.
Come on.
this landscape.
I'll ask my husband for Christmas.
It's just like a weird, it's like when I got in a relationship, I was almost upset because it's like a weird game that you get to play.
It feels like the gamification of dating.
Yeah.
it is such
Well,
a
is it
game.
dating or is it just hookups?
Do you guys use Facebook to set up your Tinder profile?
I think you have to.
I used
Yeah.
Instagram. I think you can do it through Instagram. I want to say
She's also
Gmail
not
and
super
Facebook.
tech savvy, so maybe she just gave up after that.
Do you guys remember Hot or Not? Remember that app?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hot or Not was first, am I right? It was before Tinder.
Yeah.
But that's
But
not a
there,
dating
there
app,
was no,
right?
you could not connect with those people. It was
So it'd just be
clearly
like, they think you're hot.
That
you
was a
think they're
rating
hot,
app.
and that's
Yeah,
it.
that was it.
Oh, wow.
It was just judging people.
That's just brutal.
That was all it was.
Wow.
It's like, where is this person?
Who here has a Tinder profile?
I'm
Not
pretty sure I do,
anymore.
but it's been a
I
long
do.
time
What's
since
the
I've used
process,
it.
Aaron, of setting up your profile and...
Okay, like you go through your photo library, you choose a few like choice photos. You have to like make a bio. It could just be like a little quote or whatever. And I think that's like basically it. It links a bunch of stuff from your Facebook. It like takes all of your things that you like on Facebook and like lists them,
Really?
which kind of sucks. You have no control over that.
Yeah.
So there's
Because what if you like something when you were 12?
exactly.
Yeah.
What it'll
like
do is
Ace
it'll take your
Ventura.
yeah.
in there.
It'll take your likes and stuff, and then
Oh, yeah.
it'll show, and it also shows you like if both of you are connected through Instagram or Facebook, it'll show you how many people you have in common. So it could be
Okay.
like these are people you know in common. And then also like it'll just upload all your photos. So you get to pick a photo, but then sometimes it'll upload like random photos that you don't even know.
I don't like that because
Really?
You
like
just have like random
Yeah.
photos.
I don't like that because I have so many things that I actually like that I maybe liked when I was super
Yeah.
young on Facebook or
And the
posted when I
things
was
you like,
younger.
the music that you like,
Yeah.
like Coldplay.
Stuff like
that
you
changes.
liked when
Also,
you
if you're
were-
18, when I was super young is last week. You know, because you
Yeah.
feel like you're growing
of
up so much
course.
every month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you would, like, you know, when you're 30, it's like what you liked a year ago is fine. But when you're 17, not.
Yeah.
What I liked 2 years ago is definitely not what I like right now.
Exactly. So, is it owned by Facebook or does it just coordinate with Facebook?
I don't think it's owned
I
by
don't think
Facebook.
it is.
I think
I
it's
think
its
it's
own
coordinated.
company. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I looked up a couple of links that we all may find helpful. This was a really, really great GQ article, if you have that, Lane. And it's Tinder dating tips. First of all, it wants you to get your bio right. And
very important.
it gives you specifics on that, and I want to hear what you guys think about these tips, because you guys are actually in practice Tinderizing. And this guy may be a grandfather. Who writes for GQ. He's certainly very British because I have noted the word whilst. Get your bio right. Your bio should be short and sweet. Don't list personal facts. It says that already shows up in your profile. No cheese, no cringe. So as an example of that, they were like, I love kittens. Like you know, like if you're trying to attract the ladies, you don't have to say that you love hugging and snuggling. Like you don't.
Long walks on the beach.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. Don't try to be cute. Forget the ironic I'm a dick bio. So I guess there's people on there who are like, look, I'm just going to have sex with you and then just like leave you at the curb. Let's get that up front.
Because that'll get you likes.
How ironic is that, though? I feel like
I don't know. It could be like
if they're
historic.
putting it in their bio, they're being, I don't know. That seems like it's sending a message.
Well, this might be a little up, but this wasn't through Tinder. This was through OkCupid. But I have a friend who did a show from OkCupid where she made several fake profiles for women and for men, and then just did a show based off of who responded. And the women, you could do whatever. You could be like, I support Hitler and I drown cats. And guys would just send her 50 messages a day. And then the guys, they found that that you had to be the biggest dick in order to get women to reply. Like even guys who were like, I want to get married and start a family, like they would get like a couple replies. But if a guy was like, I think women are trash, or all I want to do is have sex with you, you're just a pump and dump, like that, then they would be like, oh, I want to get to know you. And then, so it's just crazy that was like the biggest thing.
So is that the whole I can change him psychology, Jilly, or what's going on there?
Yeah.
You want me to psychoanalyze?
I do.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I said I can change you. I don't know if it's I can change. Maybe it's I can change you, or maybe it's I don't even know. That's a big one.
I mean, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Please weigh in.
I feel like this has to play into the hookup culture because I think most
thinking.
people are on Tinder just for a one night thing.
Even the women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some women are. Yeah. A lot of women are. Yeah.
Aren't they hoping that the hookup would lead to romance?
If you're looking for romance on Tinder, you're in the wrong place.
That's what I was thinking was, people a lot of the time, Tinder, when it first came out, I think had a reputation, like didn't necessarily have a reputation actually, but now, especially with a lot of the other dating apps and just what Tinder has kind of become, it is known as the hookup app. Like some of the other apps have a little bit more of like respect, which is funny because it's just like, it's funny that all these different apps have different connotations.
I've definitely known people that I've met on Tinder that have had good relationships. I mean, thus far. I mean, it hasn't been around for that long, but
I think to me, what I thought was interesting about the description, for me, like you do select like what you're there for. Like, are you there for a relationship? Are you there for whatever? But in the description, that's where I find that most people are what they're there for. Like for me, when I did my description, I think it was just like, I'm just here to meet somebody who I could get into a relationship with or something. And my girlfriend at the time was the same thing. But the caption really doesn't mean anything except for just like, what are you there for?
Well, will it sort according to what you're there for?
No. So you have to like check, like what I would do is, I mean, I had a terrible strategy, but because I would just like literally swipe right on I would just
That's what you want.
Okay.
I just would literally go like everybody I accept.
You're a net fisherman.
I'm a net. And then what happens is people will then do the same thing, but then what you do is then you read their captions and you look at their other photos. You go like, is this a crazy person? Is this a person? A lot of what Tinder is now isn't even, well, technically, I mean, I guess it could be considered hookups, but it's not hookups. It's a married couple wanting a third person.
Oh, or are they Russian bots?
Yeah, or Russian bots.
Another cool thing about it is that like, if you see somebody that you actually know in real life, you've already known them previously, and you say, oh, like I actually do like this person, but I don't know if they like me. You can say that you like them, and then you can match with them, and then you're like, wow, we actually do like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do your radius of like within like a couple of square feet, it's like, Mom.
Yeah, except for it'd be weird if you like swipe right on your mom and then your mom either swipes right on you or doesn't.
Or it's like,
and then you
no,
find
not
out
so much.
you find out your mom has a profile and you're like, well, what does Dad think about it?
Yeah. Ask Dad. All right, so writing your profile is key, and they give you all these things of what not to do in this GQ article. And then like they give you an example. And here's the thing. I'm going to read you guys the example, but I'm not expecting everyone to be quite this clever. So if you're not this clever, how do you do this? Like it's one thing to tell people to do this, and then it's another thing to be able to have the skill or talent to pull it off. So it's under example says the creative guy. Premium cat facts available on request. I'm 6'6" in heels. This is a guy writing this. And 8'4" in stilts. I have 10 suits, so I make a great +1 for your summer weddings. My dog hates pictures. I have multiple passports, but I'm not a spy. Tell me where you need residency, and I'll marry you and get it for you. Then it has the funny guy. Med student and dog lover, ranked 4th in the world for thumb wrestling.
Was that supposed to be like a go-to bio right there?
Well,
was that what that
people-
was?
you know
This
what
was
I
the
hate?
example in GQ of how to be the funny guy or how to be the creative guy.
I
The
wasn't into that
creative
one.
guy sounded like a psychopath.
Yeah, I
like
did not
a
like
serial
that.
killer.
I'm 6'6"
Yeah.
in heels.
No,
Like-
because
like,
people,
jeez.
guys always put their height. They always put their height, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"This is my dog's name," and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, this is weird."
Oh,
like,
so they're,
I'm
like,
trying
trying
to
to, like,
figure out how
play a
tall
joke
you
on
are
that?
by your pictures. If
Some
that's
women
something I
put
care about.
their measurements too. I've seen that too, where which it's like nobody asked you, but like some women will put their measurements as well to be like.
Yeah, I think that's so annoying.
Which is weird because it's like you could just juxtapose. Like I know what you look like from your photo. Like
Right.
it's not like I'm gonna be like, well, now she's definitely.
Well, these examples,
Like, put a picture of your
although
driver's
yeah.
license. Like at this
Yeah.
point,
these examples could have been considered cute or funny to somebody. Perception is everything, but they also tell you nothing about the person actually. So
Yeah.
should your bio tell a little something about who you are?
To me, Tinder is like basically just cutting out the seeing somebody from across the room at a bar, walking up to them and saying hello and getting that response back. That's it. Like everything else is that you still have to go through the steps because all you're doing is just making sure that A, you're attracted to this person in some form, and B, they're not like an outright crazy person. Like if you go like if you read their profile and they're like I collect mittens and you're like, well, that's just I don't know what the hell that's about. Then you go like, okay, I don't like that person. Or maybe you collect mittens as well and you're like, great,
yes.
I collect mittens. And
That
then you
would
start like
finally
a thing.
Yeah, it would be only
The one.
disturbing if they had an odd number of mittens.
Yeah, I collect like 13 mittens. And you're like,
Like,
all right, that's
absolutely.
I'm not gonna be able to
Psychopath.
sleep.
Disturbing.
For the rest of
I feel like you get to know the person after you match with them. Like after
Exactly,
you,
yeah.
like at first it's just like, okay, this person's physically attractive, but I don't really care what they have to say in their bio.
Oh, really?
Once
you don't?
I mean, I don't.
no,
I
it's just
personally don't, because
literally
you can say blah 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 blah, and then I'll be like, she's still attractive.
Thanks for writing my
And
bio.
then- you know?
Blah blah blah. Is it two blahs or
It's
as
blah-
long as they
blah
don't like
hyphen
say
blah.
something like outright crazy,
Yeah.
like that to me is fine. Like it's the conversation that's the thing. Sorry, I
Alright.
didn't mean to interrupt you. But
No.
I
I
can
was just
compare
saying
this
blah.
to like a college essay. Like a Tinder bio is like the hook, like sentence, the
Yeah.
first sentence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is my thesis that
And
I will
also-
prove.
You mentioned that
Once you meet me.
The
we
following
could come up with
conversation.
smart things to say. Literally, the first time I started Tinder, because I stopped and started a bunch, but the first time I went on Tinder, I said that I'm a twin, because I am, but I also, not many people know that I absorbed my triplet in the womb. And that was like my funny, like, the women are going to come calling. Like that was the thing that I was like,
She's
got the-
amusing.
yeah, people were gonna be like, "Ooh, tell me more." So no, it's just it's
I don't
literally
think
the
I had
most.
a bio.
Yeah, it's
which
literally the
maybe
most
wasn't
pressure.
great. But
All right, so the next thing they
better
get to in the GQ article is the opener, which is like the first time if you realize you match, so you get notified that you match with someone. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then one of you has to start the conversation.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
How many of you wait for the other person to do so? Yeah.
I go straight to it.
I usually I usually send a message when I had the time, but sometimes like my girlfriend ended up sending me the first message.
Oh, so you met your girlfriend on Tinder?
Yeah,
All right. Do you remember how that opening
No way.
exchange went?
yeah, she yeah, I actually have
We have Lane has a success story too, which I'm teasing for later on in the show. Go
my
ahead.
friend Colin also his fiance who they're getting married in August, they met on Tinder. But yeah, so we matched, and I was gonna send her a message like later on the day, but I was doing something, and then she like almost immediately, because you get a notification like, hey, you matched with this person. And so she almost immediately sent me a message like, yay, I'm glad we matched. I was hoping I'd match with you, or something like
That's
that.
so
Yeah.
like adorable and
It's so
to the point.
Yeah. And then we just kind of started from there. And the reason I went on Tinder this time was because I had kind of, discontinued my account and then reinstated it and then went on. And then I met her, and then within a month we met, or like within 2 weeks we met, and within a month we were dating. And then within like a week we were in a relationship. And it was, I mean, it's also, a lesbian relationship, so it was super serious really fast. But it was also like...
That's the joke. The joke is, what does a lesbian bring on a second date?
A U-Haul.
A U-Haul, yeah.
What does a gay guy bring on a second date?
What?
What's a second date? And but like, I was like, because before I would go on Tinder and it was literally just like conversation hell, where you would go back and forth with somebody and you talk and be like, we should meet up. And they'd be like, yeah, I'm kind of busy. And then it's just like, well, okay, what are we doing here?
Right.
So I was like, my friend of mine was saying I should go on, and I was like, no, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna end up having like a bunch of conversations with people, and then I meet her and I was like, oh, like I wanted to be proven right, and it's like it just happened like really fast. So yeah,
That's amazing.
There goes your thesis.
I know.
Unproven.
I know.
All
She
right,
really upset me.
so this is the advice that they give you about smooth openers. Now, according to this GQ article, the winky face is never allowed on social media unless deeply ironic and employed amongst British your inner circle. Is this true? True or not true? Winky face, or is this just a British
think
thing?
that's
I
true.
feel like I've seen that
It's
outside of those
in
circumstances.
context. I think anything's
As long
in
as it's not an
context.
emoji.
Yeah,
As long as it's not the emoji.
I don't like the emoji. I like that kind of winky face.
I think I used the winky emoji a couple days ago. Isn't that not okay?
everything's
You're
in
not supposed to?
context.
It's in
What with the
context,
context?
but I
Yeah.
think I prefer like not, because I think like emojis I think are a little over. It's just a me thing. I think the more that I'm talking about this now, but I think emojis now are like over you, and they're just kind of funny and like whatever. But I think it's like
I used
like
emojis
to
before they
do-
went mainstream.
Oh, yeah, I mean whatever.
Well, like if you write
But-
something really sarcastic over text and they can't hear your tone of voice, I was like, don't you ever do that, winky face, meaning it's fine if you do that.
Well, I just feel like what's the difference between something that's weird and something that's cute or interesting is whether or not you find that person cute or interesting or attractive. Like if you find that person cute then or attractive, you're going to be like anything they do, to a certain point is going to be cute. So if they're sending you a winky face, you're going to be like,
Right.
oh, that's, that's
That
great.
is
They're
the
my
best
new
winky
favorite.
face.
Yeah. Oh my
You're like,
God.
Remember what I said about
You're
emojis?
crazy.
So wrong.
All right, so
I
they
use
go
them
on
all the time.
They go on to say, don't even, boy, Jilly, you are evolving right before us. Don't even start with a hey, hi, hello, or any form of greeting. Why not kick things off with a fun fact? I ate my twin. How are you doing is not a conversation starter because you know if you can predict the answer, don't ask it, I guess. I'm fine. How are you? Ask a question that leads somewhere. Like, are you in water?
Yeah. I had
Like, what does that mean?
That's a conversation starter no matter what. It's like if,
Where's that
if the
gonna go?
answer's yes, then you have to.
Like, whoa.
If
and
so,
then,
why are you using your phone?
Like, are you a mermaid?
if
Or
the
what?
answer's no, then it's like, why do you want to know if I'm in water?
I feel like if someone asked me if I was in water, I would not respond. I'd be like, oh no.
I had
you would damage your
Not
device.
not your person.
I had one girl message me and say like, "Oh, good, you're a comedian. You're definitely gonna make me laugh." And I
Oh.
literally was like,
Hate to disappoint.
I literally just wrote back, "Today is the year anniversary of my grandmother's death." Just didn't respond.
Did you
to-
really?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Because I just was like,
Wow.
what the hell? Like, that's the weirdest prompt ever. Like,
Yeah.
nothing I say is going to be,
That's something your uncle says at the family barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're a comedian. Make me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like ready, set, go.
Yeah.
I
I will say the worst thing that somebody sent me with Tinder is no. I just responded no. And then I
Why
was
did
like,
they even match then?
Then I was like, yeah, because
Huh.
I was like, you realize that we matched. Like, that's how we're able to have this conversation. And the girl goes, the girl was like, stop it, I'm not interested. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not
Wow.
trying to.
There's several things
Yeah.
you can do in this situation.
Yeah.
But that's
So I was just
like she matched with you just to hurt your feelings.
I think what happened is she did the thing that I do, which is she just wide netted it. She just threw it out there. And then instead of just doing the kind thing, which is just unmatching, she literally, I just imagine she literally just writes no to everybody
Yeah,
that she doesn't match with.
Just have to crush dreams.
She has it in her cut and paste,
Yeah.
and she just plops
She's like,
it down.
they need to know.
It says, do not compliment her appearance. You don't know her yet. Do you think that's true? Like your opening line should not be like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty."
Do you have nice eyes or something like that? I feel like
They
that's
even
that's
said
a good
no
They
to
said
that.
not that one.
They
yeah.
said no to
Why?
that.
Why not? I think it's good to open up with a compliment.
There are some girls I've seen on there that are like, that will set parameters. Like there's been one that said, "Don't tell me I have a nice smile, I know," or "Don't tell me I have nice eyes."
Wow.
Conceited much?
I know.
I mean, I get that. Like, don't. Because then it's like, first of all, where do you go from there? And second of all, it's just like,
Thanks.
Well,
Yeah.
you could tell them the reason you like them. Like, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that's a good
Yeah,
way to
I
start
don't
it.
know.
ocean. Are you wet?
My girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agreed with that one, but they had that one. All right. And then what else? Do not go pervy. And so I guess some people's opening lines are like, "Send me nudes," or
yeah, don't go pervy.
yeah.
If you're trying to get a relationship, definitely don't go pervy immediately.
Right, but if it's hookup culture and you only want someone that would respond to pervy, is that then okay?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen ones where it's just like literally message me, because for a little while I did the guy and girl Tinder, where you get both guys and girls. So this girl on there who I just happened to mess was looking for guys, but I just happened to see hers, and I distinctly remember her saying, "The only messages I want are the size of your penis," and that's it. Like she didn't want anything else. So she literally would just have guys message her that, and then decide whether or not she wanted to meet.
Oh, I thought you meant the message, like the length of the message had to be as long.
That's actually
and if
better.
you
like a
lie,
math
she'll
problem.
know. Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna need a protractor.
Because you have to turn it then on your phone.
Yeah. And if they just said hello, then she was like,
Yeah,
no,
I'm done.
I know.
Wow. Oh, so do you think that guys lied about the size of? I don't know. Like
I'm
they lie
sure.
about their height, right? Is it like what are the most common lies that you find on Tinder? I would think it'd be guys lying about their height, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably.
I just think,
Or like, I want to
don't
see
know.
you again is a big one.
Is that a big one?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, how like
Or like,
I
wow.
also
Night
think
was so
that
great.
even though I think I try and be as upfront about what I want, like I'm like, I want a relationship. There are some people who are like, like this girl that I did meet who I ended up dating for a little bit. She was very much like, I want a relationship, but then like never wanted a relationship, and was like at certain point was like admitted that she was like, no, I just like dating. I don't want to be in a relationship. It's like, well, then what the hell? Like, why did you say that you want to be in a relationship? So I think that's the big thing is people still lie about what they want because they don't know what they want and they think that they have to lie in order to get what they want.
Or they're projecting what they think they're supposed to want.
Yeah.
Or what they imagine other people want to hear that they want.
I have a friend who's poly, and he's like, and that's fine. I mean, he wants to live his life that way. And it's like, who's he hurting? But he doesn't.
Wait. Define poly.
I was about to ask that.
Polyamorous. He doesn't want to be in like he wants to be in a relationship, but he wants to be in a relationship with like more than one person.
At a time?
At a time. Yeah.
There, and that explains the judgment. Okay, because I thought you were like, you meant like that he was like polysexual, like he didn't know what sex he was every day. And I'm like, whatever. But you're actually saying he wants to juggle.
He wants to be, he wants to have like 4 different girlfriends.
Like an
And-
open relationship.
Yeah, open relationship. I could have said that better.
Yeah.
So he,
but it's different, no?
yeah,
Like,
it's
different than an open relationship.
It's different in the sense that it's like if you commit, you say like
you're
I
still
want to,
committed
I want to be in a relationship
to-
with you, but then you're going to be in a relationship with somebody else, and I'm going to be in a
So
relationship
you
with
say
somebody
poly,
else.
I say hoary. It's all,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
all language.
No
Exactly.
slut shaming anymore.
I'm sorry.
But
like if you give it a fancy name, it's okay to hurt
Yeah.
everybody. I don't know.
But when he first
Doesn't-
went on Tinder, I think he went on a different app. I think it was Bumble or something. But when he first went on the app, he said, I want to be in a relationship. Because he was like, I don't feel like I can say I'm polyamorous and then people will want to come to me and date me. So what he did was he would meet women and then he would say, hey, I'm polyamorous. But it's like, well, why don't you just cut out the middleman? Because some women are going to be like, either what's going to happen is, which did sometimes happen, was he would meet a woman who liked him a lot and said, oh, well, that's fine. You date whoever you want. But then ended up finding out that she didn't want that. And so she'd get upset. Or, you get women who would be upset and be like, well, why don't you just tell me this to begin with?
Well, I admire him for saying I'm not going to be exclusive to any one person, because there's a lot of guys who behave this way and always act like they're in a relationship with you, but are still always pursuing other people. So at least he's putting a label to it and saying, I'm not ready to just be with one person. Not now, maybe not ever. Although I still think that whoever these 5 lucky ladies are, they're all hoping that it's like on The Bachelorette, like you're hoping it.
Did you just say bachelor?
Good
Oh, are
transition.
we there yet?
Oh,
Sweet
there we
transition.
go.
Wow. Oh, so you want to do the Bachelorette now, and then we'll do
You
pickup
got
lines?
so excited.
Whatever you want.
So
You're like,
excited
Bachelorette? Oh my god.
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
because
Yeah.
we're
Now
we're
we all
we're
shut up.
Bachelor
This is
Nation.
No,
your
I
time.
got it. Don't
Jillian
worry.
and I are Bachelor Nation. We are.
What
And
is
so-
it about the
What-
Bachelor?
Jilly, what is
Oh,
it?
there's so many things. Which, like, Bachelor. Why do I watch this
Yeah,
trash?
I
Is that what
guess.
you're?
Yeah. No, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
yes.
essentially.
That's what I mean.
Well, it's a lot of different things. I think usually I'm watching it with all of my friends, and so it's a group situation where like it's like a party and
Yeah.
you're all talking about, you know, what's happening and which guy and which girl and the dynamics, and you're like, this one is the worst. No, I think this one's hot. No, this one is so dumb. He thinks the earth is flat still. Like it's like that
Wait,
kind
that's
of
There was
really
a flat
people?
Earth guy on last night.
Yes.
There was?
There was?
Yeah.
Which one?
Lincoln
Lincoln.
thinks the earth is flat.
A person named Lincoln thinks the Earth is
Yes.
It was
He's
he
trolling.
was
Incongruous.
just like
They gotta be
when you
trolling.
look out
Oh
of
my God.
planes, you know,
You can see the curvature.
Can see the
Oh,
curvature, and
honey.
everyone was just like, "What?"
We should
what-
just put him in space. And if,
Just
if,
see what
if he doesn't
happens.
make it
Just-
back, okay.
There was a guy who
I
like
agree.
who like crowdfunded a rocket to shoot
Lane
into
agrees.
space.
Well,
Yeah.
because he was the same guy that he just got convicted, right? That's
Right.
Lincoln. Yeah.
He just got
Yeah.
convicted of assault and
Assault,
battery.
yeah, assault and
The
battery.
Earth looks
Wait,
really
wait, wait.
flat
see
from
that.
prison.
We hate
Yeah.
to see that, but
But are you
It-
surprised?
no, not at all.
No.
Not at all. Maybe he'll learn about the Earth.
Well, he'll learn a lot of.
You said he was on the
about
show?
Right, he's
He
on the.
was.
Well, so reasonably,
Oh,
I mean,
on
we
The
can-
Bachelor.
on the Bachelorette.
Thought you meant on this show.
Sorry.
I was like,
Not
whoa.
yet.
Focus, okay?
Call him up.
Thumbs up.
Call in.
Fingers crossed. Yes, please call in Lincoln. No, so I think we like it because there's so many different layers of human, romantic,
Yes.
sociological culture that
Yes.
you can study, even if it's fake. It's like even if it's completely fake,
There's so many
we
things.
still think, and this could be our own flat Earth problem, Jilly's and mine. We still think that we're reading human behavior nuances into.
Because I think even
This
if it
completely
is
fake
fake,
show.
even if it's kind of
Right.
curated in a way, you're still watching this weird kind of crazy. It's like almost like Survivor. Like it's
It's a social
curated,
experiment.
maybe, but it's a social experiment where you're watching these people interact, and you want to be like if you take a step away from it, you're like, how are you not seeing how crazy this is? But people are really acting in all these different ways that you can see, you know, parts of yourself or your friends or
exactly.
guys you've dated or, you know, guys you're friends with or girls you're friends with or whatever. And you're like, oh my goodness, to see all these personalities or to see all these things, it's like the most fascinating thing because it's not just, you know, Survivor or like a competition show. Like they're supposed to be like falling in
They're
love.
supposed to be falling in love, and so there's that romantic layer that just like draws you in the way you're drawn to the Tinder app, to like face, like you. It's the gamification of dating, and the Bachelor and the Bachelorette in a way is the gamification in terms of the competition to win somebody's heart. They tend to cast like a leading woman who's very likable, and her name is, she has a name, right?
Becca.
Becca, yeah.
Sounds super likable.
Yeah, and there's
I
certain.
actually don't love her.
I don't
We
like
don't-
her either, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah,
Good.
she
I'm
seems
glad I'm not
really
alone in that.
fake. Like she just seems a little too devious.
Well, I think
She reminds me of every girl I went to high school with who was like had the same name.
And they
like,
all were
there
named
Four
Becca.
girls named Amanda, and you're just like you're
No,
all the
they
same
all
person.
had the name Becca. That's
They're-
true.
I don't think she's like, I don't hate her, but I don't love her. Like, I just think she's like fine. I mean, I think she needs to stop talking about the other guy from last season.
Oh, he whose name
yeah.
shall not be spoken.
I can't even remember.
You're
his
right.
name.
Ari.
She keeps
Ari?
bringing him up. She's like,
Keeps
I'm ready to
bringing
move
him
on.
up.
All
I'm
right,
ready
so-
to move on. Ari. But that's not what
I
we're
hope
really
we've
talking about.
explained why we like
Sorry,
The
I
Bachelor
get
and The
carried away.
Bachelorette. But we
Clearly.
want to talk to bring it back to Tinder.
We're all
And
things-
so there's a guy on The Bachelorette this season who is really a winner in terms of casting. Like they must have,
Really
that
reminds
casting
me of,
department
like-
must have just been like ding, ding, ding. All right, he has like really politician hair, and
he
He
reminds
is.
me of like every frat boy at USC.
yeah, he
like
is a male model,
Wilhelmina
and he does
Have you
not
heard of- yes.
disappoint.
does never.
Never. There's not a moment out of place. He's completely self-absorbed, and he claims that he's had 4,000 Tinder matches in 2017, and that
Whoa.
he has a 100% swipe to match rate. His name is Jordan Kimball. So who wants to go on Tinder and left swipe him so that we can clam up his averages?
Well, unfortunately, you can't search for people,
Oh,
so you'd
that's-
have to just.
Damn it.
It's just
Gotta
by
get in his area.
Get in his area.
Yeah.
So I'd literally have to drive over to the Bachelor compound and just wait.
We could put a
through-
computer
Yeah.
program on this, couldn't we? There's got to be someone
Yeah.
that's created a computer program where
Neural
you just
network.
keep swiping until it finds
We
Jordan
could figure
Kimball.
it out.
Yeah.
We have the technology.
We do it.
Yeah.
So then a lot of like the Bachelor Nation was online going, that's not even possible. So
I think it's possible.
No,
no one ever-
way.
Success rate, I don't think is possible. I think that there are many people who would swipe left on him.
like, how do you have time to get your hair that perfect and swipe 4,000 times?
I think the swiping
In a day.
is not. I think swiping that many is feasible if
Okay.
that's his lifestyle. I mean,
Okay.
he's a model. Like he's, you know what I mean. Like I didn't do the math. I mean, what they're.
How many
whatever.
swipes
I'd
a
also
day?
have somebody do it for him too. Like, I mean, I don't
Oh,
know.
if it's just a numbers game.
Yeah,
But,
if it's just a numbers game, he could have like an assistant just be like sitting there just swiping
Or
all day.
friends or
Yeah.
whatever, being like just. Swipe.
It's not just that though. He's not just claiming that he has all these matches. He's saying every time he swiped
Yeah.
right on someone, they also swiped
Yeah.
right on him.
that's the part that I find
I
mathematically
don't think that's true.
dubious.
The other
no way.
part that's it implies, which I think is funny, is because there's like on the free version, there's like a limited number of swipes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that
like
means that
100.
he paid for Tinder. He's like
That
a male
is
model,
an
gorgeous,
incredible point.
super sure of himself,
Oh,
but he
that's
still has to
true.
pay money for Tinder. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Well, I
Wow.
also think that there are certain people out there. He seems like the kind of person that just because it's called Tinder Plus, he's like, I got to get that because he's like, I got Tinder Plus.
No, because like
I'm a
he
Wilhelmina model,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
got Tinder Plus.
the
Yeah.
way that his personality has established itself is like me, and for
Yeah.
all really not very valid reasons. So
Well, that's
because he
that's
doesn't
the
really
only
understand.
reason why he's noticed is because of his looks. So he has to kind of keep banking
but it
on
wouldn't
that.
have to necessarily be that way if he were to cultivate other talents, gifts, capabilities, like maybe listen
Yeah.
to someone else talk.
It's kind of hard because you're in a box. You know, I mean, it's like
when you're a male model. I mean, he's
when
the one who.
you're I feel like when you're attractive to that
There's
degree
other guys
in
on the
any way-
show who are. He thinks he's the most handsome one. There's other guys on the show that are equally handsome, but they just don't
if
present
not
like.
more.
If not more, like who do you like?
Oh my goodness! But I don't know their names all
Yeah, I
get
don't know
confusing
their
to me
names. There's
because
so
they-
many
Speak to
of
them
them.
into the camera.
I'm sorry.
What
I'm
was
so
that guy's name that we were
excited.
just talking about? What's his name?
Jordan.
Oh, that was
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
I like how he's bragging about like all the all the Tinder likes he gets, but he's not really bragging about like how many girls he's dated or like how many things he's had in real life. He's just like, on Tinder though, I get 4,000.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
how many magazine covers has he been
like-
on?
Yeah, we
As a
don't.
Wilhelmina model.
He could still be
thank
a
you.
virgin.
Okay.
Okay.
Christian, I think is hot.
Whoa, Blake looks like Andy Samberg.
Blake, I
You
think is
think-
Yeah.
cute. Okay,
Christian? Which Christian?
the one on the top right.
Yeah,
Oh,
he is-
Colton. I
Yeah.
love
Colton's a football player.
Oh my
Colton
God.
got played on the last episode.
Yeah. This
Oh,
last
Will.
I like Will.
Wills is adorable.
Will.
Oh, Will's-
He's the
looks
one.
cute.
Front runner.
Front runner. So yeah, that's my
But I kind
thought.
of
Wait,
think
what
she's
does
already
Becca
in love
look
with
like?
Garrett. Don't you? Oh yeah, let's get
Yeah.
back up
I
there.
want to see what
Becca.
Becca looks like.
Do you
Could
guys
you do
do you
one of
think she's
the-
already in love with
Yes.
Garrett? I think she's in love with Garrett.
I think he's cute.
Garrett?
Yeah, he's good.
I
for
just
her.
don't.
I know, but like you say that every season, you're like, when have you really been into?
Never.
Yeah, you're always just like, eh. So
That's
do you
Becca?
do you tend to watch The Bachelorette with an eye out for the next Bachelor, the person that she doesn't pick,
No.
but who's
My
really
aunt does.
I don't really
My
care
aunt
like
thinks-
that. In that
I want to
way.
say Garrett because she was talking about somebody the
I
other
think he's
day.
gonna pick. I think she's
No,
gonna
she
pick.
might-
But she
pick
was talking
him.
about somebody the other day who she was like, if he doesn't get picked, he's going to be the next
Oh,
Bachelor.
she was. Okay, yeah.
She was talking to my mom about it. But yeah, that's the only reason why they watch it, is just to think about who they're going to choose.
So the part of the formula that they know is like that the Bachelor or the Bachelorette has to be a protagonist. It has to be ideally someone that everyone likes. They never pick the bad boy to be the Bachelor or the Bachelor.
Yeah.
So that's the formula, and then they have a cast of variables. Yes.
Oh, no, I was just
Yeah,
moving
no, go
my
ahead.
mic closer.
There's
No.
Becca.
You don't think it's actually her choice?
Could you? I don't know if you can play one of the promos.
She
but
can
there
only-
was a promo. I mean,
or is it
maybe
like a
it's
fan choice?
She can
No,
only pick
she
the guy
chooses
she
it.
wants. She can't pick the next Bachelor.
We have nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay.
Usually,
just
isn't
watch.
it invariably the runner-up is always the Bachelor?
Not
Bachelor?
invariably. It's like remember they picked Jean whatever out of nowhere. He was
Yeah.
like 5th or something.
So do they like
it's
eliminate
fan
somebody?
mail. It's like who gets the most
She
buzz
does.
online.
She has
Yeah.
all the power. We just watch.
Yeah, no, I'm just
It's
wondering.
not-
I haven't
yeah.
watched the show. I feel like
You should watch.
I'm
What
out
was
of this
that?
conversation, but she just eliminates people every
Yes.
episode.
Every day.
And
She
everyone's
gives
like,
out
oh,
a
no, they
rose.
eliminated
She doesn't
Yes.
specifically say you go home. She just gives people roses, and if you don't get a rose, it's like wah, wah.
Aw.
And then they're outside just
That's so heartbreaking.
sobbing,
Wait,
like,
real quick, can I tell you my favorite Bachelorette moment?
Please.
Because
Yes.
I'm new to it. This is my first season.
Oh,
well, yeah. Now that you have a
So-
girlfriend, it's
Yeah.
kind
yeah,
of like
and she gave
a
she's the
requirement.
reason.
yeah.
Yes.
But the guy, it was like the second episode, the guy who we had not seen at all, and then he leaves, and like the most airtime he has is him just crying
Yes.
for
Aw.
30 seconds.
Yes.
straight.
Seriously?
It was literally my
Aw.
favorite 30 seconds
That
of
shows his
television
range.
probably ever.
Yes.
Because like he told all his friends and families to watch him, and then the only time he's on the show, he's just crying
God.
Yeah.
for 30 seconds.
It's
That
so
would be me.
bad, but
'Cause
it's
he-
so good.
He really
It's
just
just-
thought he would find love. We're gonna do Tinder Pickup Line Theater if I can get scripts out to everybody.
I've had a crush on you for 2 hours. Thank you.
I like the way you said that.
That's great.
I
didn't
like
really like it, but I like the way you said
I
it.
like the way you
Okay.
delivered
So
that.
yeah,
Winky face.
yeah, winky face.
4
Lord?
winky faces.
They say Tinder is a numbers game. So can I get your number?
Get it? Puns.
Corny. I think.
Jilly?
I usually go for 8s, but I guess I'll settle for a 10.
I like this one.
Yeah? You like it?
I give it a solid 10.
Sean?
Maybe you can help me. I forgot the password to my account, and when I hit password hit, it keeps telling me Jessica's phone number.
That
I'm
one
assuming
doesn't
that
make
person's
sense.
Jessica, because if you sent it to me, I'd be like,
Who's
I don't know
Jessica?
Jessica.
I'm Becca. Aaron?
Back to me. What's a smart, attractive young man like myself doing without your number?
Ooh. That one's smooth.
Dimply face.
Yeah.
But it could also come across as like too cocky, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you can,
arrogant.
Yeah.
You can-
Yeah.
Arrogant and cheesy.
but Sean, can't you diffuse with the proper emoji? Well selected.
Oh, God.
Lori?
Oh, I just read.
Disclaimer: there were a lot that had really sexual,
Yeah.
stupid sexual content,
Shocking for Tinder.
and this was the one I chose.
I'm going to read it in the voice that I feel like it goes with.
Oh my god.
When I come over to my place and watch porn on my flat screen mirror.
Watch porn on my
I
flat
just
screen
got
mirror.
the mirror. Yeah.
I just think it's so stupid. It's good.
That
Oh, I
has
love that
layers.
one.
That has layers.
I love that one.
People
That
do
has
that.
layers.
Do people look at themselves in the mirror while they have sex?
Well,
Yes.
some
Razor?
people.
Yes.
Well, like I
For
guess
sure.
in old Hollywood, like porn days, you'd put a mirror on the ceiling so that you could watch yourself having sex. I guess. Jilly, what you got?
On a scale of 1 to America, how free are you tonight?
What
See,
happens
here's
if they answer America?
That's my favorite of the bunch.
If they say
What if they
America,
say,
then,
like,
then they're
I-
free.
They're like,
I would take it into like a whole political discussion.
Yeah, be
like, well, Trump is-
I'd be like,
Yeah.
well,
how free are
right
we
now?
under the Trump regime?
Right now,
They'd
I'm
be like
about
at the border.
yeah, kids being taken
like-
away from their parents.
They'd be like, that wasn't where I was going. They'd be like, you should know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And Sean.
Sorry, I lost. Oh yeah. You want to know what's beautiful? Read the first word again. Oh.
I actually hate that one.
And puppies. I think we should go to Lane's Tinder success story.
Oh boy.
So Lane, you
Yes.
come out here from Rochester, correct?
yeah. So
And
the-
where were you when you met your girlfriend?
So I was here. This happened last summer. When
Okay.
I was here just for the summer working.
Okay.
I matched with her actually like a week and a half before I went back.
But you did geographically Los Angeles.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was in Los Angeles. We matched. We went to a brewery. We like hit it off. I was like, I'm here for a week, so let's hang out for a week. And we basically just like hung out like 4 times, and then we just like kept talking, and somehow didn't break up for a year, long
That's
distance.
great.
And then and so then I moved back here, and I'm living with her temporarily while I find my own place. But
Okay.
yeah.
So she saved your profile. She screen capped because you deactivated yourself once you decided you were in a committed relationship.
Yes, she says that she screenshotted it, but she doesn't have it. She was like, she swears that she screen capped it.
Then how is she going to make this your Christmas card?
I know, that's what I'm saying. But also, I want to know if that's creepy, because you said it's adorable. But I think, in hindsight, I think it's adorable because I'm dating her now.
But why?
But she screen capped it before she knew me.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's weird,
No,
right?
I would have 100% done that.
I thought she screen capped it when you guys both decided to deactivate.
No.
But she knew. Well, maybe she because Tinder's like a. It's like roulette. Maybe she was like, I want to remember what this guy looks like.
Yeah.
I think that's what it. So I'm flattered, but also it's weird.
All right, let's creepy or adorable.
I think it's good. I
think
feel like
it's
it's like a
good.
once in a lifetime type thing where you're like, oh, this person is like really special. I want to make sure I remember them.
Send it to all my friends.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
I don't
sweet.
think that's creepy at all.
I feel
Good.
like she was just screen capturing it so she could send it to her friend to be like, can you believe what this douche just said to me? Like if things go wrong.
The question
Right.
is, how many
Right.
others did she screen cap?
Yeah,
Oh.
she
Yeah.
had a few others, so I don't feel that special, but
Yeah, that's
sounds
a
like
red
That's
flag.
less adorable.
What
Yeah.
was it? Less adorable. What was it about her that made you swipe right? And do you remember the actual moment you swiped right on her?
not a chance. I kind of did a similar. For a while, I was doing what Lori was doing, was just kind of like the shotgun effect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was probably her bio actually.
Do you remember what it said?
I was like one of the weirdos that like read bios
That's
for
not-
the most part. And I would like read it, and I cannot remember what it was, but I know it was funny
Mm-hmm.
and endearing, and so I like swiped, and then I think at the time my bio was just Flight is Denzel Washington's best movie, which
That's awesome.
which got I got like 3 likes in like
I
4
love
months
that.
with that bio.
That is
So
so beautifully random.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it worked for that one. So.
I couldn't remember my bio, but I just remembered it. It was I do comedy just to pay the bills, but my real dream is to break into customer service. That's my job. That's my bio.
genius.
That's good.
But I did the mass swipe too, but I do remember my girlfriend had a photo that I thought was really cool of her standing outside of a mobile home holding like a blue and a pink gun, like a rifle, and just holding them. And I thought that's kind of kick-ass. Like I would like to know more about why that situation happened. So I remember thinking
guns
that.
for boy and girl babies.
Yeah, she went. Her guns were gender fluid.
Okay.
Gender assigned.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I don't remember a lot, but I remember doing that. It's just being like, that's cool.
Yeah. So Lane, do you remember who wrote to who first?
Oh, I definitely wrote first.
And what'd you say?
Well, so what I did for the last probably year I had Tinder, because they added a GIF option, and I only sent GIFs as the first message.
Ooh.
Like exclusively, that's all I would do.
Did you have a Denzel GIF?
No, I didn't have a Denzel GIF.
What
That would
was
have been
your
good.
GIF?
Yeah.
I one of my go-to was a bear that was waving. It was just like cute animals,
Right.
Because it's like everyone likes cute animals.
Yeah, in
and it's
lieu
like,
of language.
yeah, and like normally it was a cute animal in some situation that could be construed as a greeting, like
Okay.
a bear waving, or like there's one where like a penguin and it just says
They're
hello
very,
in text.
very non-offensive.
Yes, exactly. It's a very easy, and then it usually it's I love penguins, and I'm
So
like,
it's
yeah.
like the
'cause,
girl
like,
gets in, she's like, this guy probably won't kill me.
yeah, or I mean, you would hope, but
Yeah.
And
That's what you want out of a first meeting.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
so-
I probably won't die.
won't die.
And so how long did you write back and forth before you agreed to meet up?
So it was like less than a day. It was like that night we matched like sometime during the day, and I was like, we should get drinks tonight. But it was also the most like bold I had been on Tinder because I was like leaving in a week.
Right. So you were just
like
throwing
normally
like
if I was like in Rochester and I was there for like the whole year, I would just like draw it out, and it'd be like a week talking to someone. and
I'm
I'd be like,
throwing
I should-
caution to the wind.
So I was like, hey, maybe I should just be like, hey, let's get drinks. And so we got drinks, and yeah, it just kind of worked out.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to ask you guys is, has anyone had any Tinder horror stories or actually met up with someone where you were like, how do I extricate myself from the situation?
I don't have any personal horror stories, but I know somebody that, I don't know them personally, but it's a friend of a friend that actually got pregnant off of a Tinder date. their first time they dated them, they got pregnant off
Did
of
they
it.
name their baby Tinder?
I really hope not. But I was talking to.
So I was talking to you guys before the show about this, and Lane just said, they met for drinks and everything. I think I was talking to Jilly about it, but it's like, why is the first thing drinks? It seems like you don't know the person. Let's not be inebriated. Like, how about coffee? Why is drinks where you go into an unsafe situation to become increasingly unsafe through the use of alcohol?
Well, alcohol loosens you up for one.
Okay.
It's definitely more casual of an encounter than, say, like coffee, because coffee you have to sustain conversation without the aid of.
I see. So it's a lubricant that loosens one's
Definitely.
inhibitions.
And for me, at least, it was also like a timing thing. Like if I met girls off Tinder on like an afternoon, I'd be like, let's get coffee. Like it was like when you could meet. Like I wouldn't suggest getting a beer at like 2 p.m. because it's like insane.
Because you're already
like,
drunk by then.
but like if we're like meeting up at like 7 p.m., I'm not gonna be like, let's get coffee and then we have to be up till 2 a.m.
Yeah, and then I guess drinks is better than dinner because dinner's just like, how many more courses are there?
Serious.
Yeah, and it's a time thing. You want drinks, you can like as fast as you can drink, you can leave.
Right.
Yeah, and also it's a easy way out. Whereas like, I feel like if with the bar, like you can just go and there's more people there. I feel like with coffee, sometimes you're kind of like at some point you're left alone.
You, me, and the barista.
Yeah. So there's like you don't really have any recourse to be like this person's weird. I'm gonna leave.
We're like, well, maybe if we don't order a coffee, they'll call the police and we'll have to leave.
Well, no, because I'm white. I know it's shocking, but I do have a horror story.
Yes, it's not shocking. It's actually expected because you guys are putting your lives at risk every time you do this.
So,
I mean, that's just. Like I'm married, so it's just like I know who I'm meeting every evening.
How did you meet your husband?
Oh, it was like this dating app called the Michael Jackson Trial.
What?
No, that's not an app.
I was like, what?
Yeah, we have the weirdest "How did you meet" story in the history of time. It's like its own show. But yeah, he was the prosecutor and I was a witness.
Wow, that's awesome.
Of the Michael Jackson trial.
And then did you swipe right or what did you do?
The way my aunt likes to tell the story is when he spotted her across that crowded courtroom, and I'm like. Yeah, like that's all he had to think about with the eyes of the world parked outside the building, with cameras and it was the word circus definitely applies to that type of an event where people are there from all over the world covering it. So no, he was not thinking about romance, but we stayed in touch and then he was dating someone else at the time and I was like, he seems interesting. I wonder what his story is, but he lives in Santa Barbara and I lived in LA, so you kind of get together with your girlfriends. It was like Feeney and Deb, and I was like, so what should I do? And they're like, you should totally see if he wants to have coffee. So that's, I guess, why I think coffee is smart, because it worked for me.
So you were the one who like officially asked him out.
I was like, I have more questions about the trial.
That's amazing.
That's a pickup line. I have more questions about the trial. I think
that's
my favorite pickup line. That's my favorite.
I should tell the GQ writer.
Yeah.
You should include this. No, because it was really interesting because there was a reporter who was covering the trial every day named Diane Diamond. And I was a witness, she was a reporter, and my future husband was a prosecutor. So we all witnessed the same event from different angles, and we all decided to meet up at a restaurant for lunch. It was just the three of us, a witness, a reporter, and a prosecutor, and we ate lunch, and it became dinner. And the shifts were changing. It was just, everyone had so much to say because it was such a huge thing that no one else had experienced. Like your family, you could tell them, oh, I went and I had to testify and it was really scary and someone took a courtroom sketch of me and, I have a reenactor on the E! Channel and, because it's like some crazy shit that happened to me. And you can tell your family, but then talking to other people that experienced the same thing, but from a different perspective, we just talked and talked and talked. And then I called Diane and I was like, so does he have a girl? You call your girlfriends and you just say, what do I do?
Yeah.
And they help you.
That's cute.
Yeah. So that's how I met my husband. And it's unlike when people say, how did you guys meet? Usually we're just like,
you guys should say Tinder.
Just say
just say Tinder.
Just say Tinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I've gotten off track.
Oh, so this girl that I matched with, she did not have hair. She did not have hair on her head, and I thought either it was like a cool style or that she had alopecia.
Right.
So I was like, and at the time I kind of was like, I'll just meet up with anybody who'll meet up with me. Like you kind of just go like, I'll,
hair optional.
Yeah, if they're interested in me, it's a self-confidence thing. If they're interested in me, then obviously,
Lori, you're the cutest girl.
Oh, well, that's sweet. But you're married. So anyway,
this week
I just that kind of led to like a bunch of like terrible dates. But so this one was the worst because when we met up, first off, she didn't have a car, so I had to go pick her up. Then we drove down this street to get to this open mall, and like every other house was like a weird story about some guy who lived in that house who she had sex with. And it was like, I was like, I don't want to know this. And then I found out that she didn't have eyebrows. She didn't have anything. So I thought, oh, well, she definitely has alopecia. No, she shaves her entire body.
Wow.
So, and she had these really long pinky nails. So I was like, oh, something's going on. So we go to Subway. We go to Subway. And I remember ordering a tuna fish sandwich, and I literally couldn't eat it because the tuna fish looked so much like what she looked like that I was just like, this is terrifying.
But you ate your own triplet.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, there was, I was incapacitated.
You were
at the
incubating,
time. Yeah. So I was like trying to figure out a way because I had driven her. So I was trying to figure out a way to like get out of this and just like be like, I have to go. And she was like, I gotta tell you something because I think you're really cool. And I was like, aw, thank you. Like legitimately was like, oh, this is nice. She thinks I'm cool.
Yeah.
Even though like I found her repulsive, like I was still like, oh, that's
I still
cool.
want her to like me.
Yeah. She went to jail for check fraud. She spent 6 months in jail for check fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I tell every person that I've dated, which I thought was weird that she said every person I've dated. It's like, okay. I doubt that there's been more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go, I'm so sorry. I have to get up early for school. I'll drop you off. And she was like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I was like, okay. So we ended up walking around till the mall closed, holding hands. And I met 3 friends I went to high school with who saw me holding hands with this person. And I just literally could not figure out how to explain it. Like, and it was before like MySpace was still, or no, not, sorry, I was thinking of a different story. It was before like, I was like, you kind of got on social media with people. Like I wasn't really Facebook friends. And I remember specifically trying to remember their names so I could go on Facebook the next day, find them and explain the situation.
Wow.
So I could be like, look, I'm not dating
It's not
this
what
person.
it looks like.
Yeah. And she was just not a nice person. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm making fun of this person because of her appearance, but she just genuinely was not a nice person. So I finally drive her back. She would not get out of the car until I promised that I would see her again. Like swore to her that I'd see her again. And she made me promise on my mother's life. And so I promised on my mother's life, and then literally as she shut the door, I go, well, thank God I don't have that great of a relationship with my mom. There's no way I'm seeing her again.
Wow.
So yeah, it was touch and go for about a month because I was definitely worried that something would happen to my mom because I was like, I'm never talking to that girl again.
No, I don't think those promises mean anything if you don't really mean them.
Yeah. But it was just like, it was the only reason I bring up that story is because that's the story where I like, it was like a culmination of things. And I was like, I got to get better at picking who I actually meet up with.
That is an experience that teaches you to be more selective and to value yourself more highly.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to what's Twitter trending. Boom. What's Twitter trending is Juneteenth. Anyone know what Juneteenth is? It's today, and we're all going to learn what it is because it's a really good holiday. This is a tweet from Frederick Joseph. On June 19th, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger came to Galveston, Texas, to inform a reluctant community that President Abraham Lincoln, 2 years earlier, had freed the slaves and to press locals to comply with his directive. So the Emancipation Proclamation, that it was an executive order that freed the slaves, news didn't get to them because they had more crops to plant. So these people were still...
for 2 years?
Yeah. So that's what Juneteenth celebrates. It really celebrates the end of slavery. Now we're going to go to Facebook feed time. So So this is from Jerry O'Connell, and he wrote, some of the birthplaces of this year's Boston High School's valedictorians: Haiti, Dominican Republic, Uzbekistan, Albania, Cape Verde, Vietnam, Somalia, Kenya, UAE. Hoping there is a 5-year-old child at the border who reunites with her parents, comes to America, and becomes a valedictorian in the class of 2031. Any thoughts about what's going on the border?
Oh, just
I mean, a lot.
A lot of thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very, very painful to see and watch.
I think it's one of the worst things we've seen in a long time, and it's just hard.
I think this is the definite. I mean, I know that Trump has done things, and the administration has done things before that have been terrible and
Appalling,
shitty.
Yeah.
But I think this is a shift in what he is doing, and I think that this shows that there's been a definite workup and there's been a definite warm up to these. So what I fear is that this isn't a new thing. This is the start of what's to come.
That we're normalizing this level of cruelty and dehumanization of people, that we're kidnapping children and holding them for ransom to build a wall. And it's really sickening. But what I'm noticing is the uprising of the humanity of America, that, you know, our outrage is very loud and very fierce. Do you find that at all reassuring, the response?
Not really. I mean, in a way, yes, but this is me personally. I think that it's like impotent rage. You know, it's like, what am I to do? I mean, call your congressman and all that stuff, but it's like, it's like, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter how I feel or what, if everybody on social media is saying that this is terrible, it's still happening. Trump wants to use this as a bargaining chip to get Democrats to agree to pay for the wall and to agree to get harsher immigration. And he also wants to use it because he keeps blaming Democrats and saying that this is a Democratic law. He wants to use it as a way to sort of say we need to fight for seats in the 2018 election. So I mean, it's good that I think everybody's on board, but I mean, in the end, Trump is still the person that's doing this.
Well, I mean, everything that's been happening since 2015 really has been like a way to divide, has been very divisive, and even something like, you know, kids getting shot up in their school or, you know, small children being separated from their parents isn't enough to like bring us all on the same page. And I see a lot of Trump's base sort of turning a blind eye to the fact that like this is a humanitarian crisis and saying, well, they shouldn't have crossed the border illegally. Like if they're doing something illegal, stuff is going to happen. Oh, well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of insane to me that that's the attitude that you have about small children who are suffering. But I just feel like when is it going to stop? Like when is the divisiveness going to stop? And when are we going to find a common ground that brings us back to, you know, like being human?
I don't know. Every time we hit one of these moments that feels like it's going to force a pendulum swing, we continue marching in the same direction. It does feel like the level of outrage is at a heightened pitch as it involves these kids, and even what it's doing to the fabric of a family that has marched across several countries to get here because they are running for their lives. The one thing that people, you know, don't bring up, and I know it's kind of beside the point when we're talking about the Trump regime and how all of these policies are just so shockingly cruel, but when it comes to immigration and migration of people, it seems like the thing to do would be to help those countries where people are fleeing, because most people would love to stay home near their family, near the landscape within which they grew up. That's home, that's familiar, that's in their heart, that's a part of who they are. They only flee if they have to. Some people have a wandering spirit, but most people stay pretty close to home. And so what's going on in each of these countries and what can we do to help? Does anyone ever talk about that? Maybe I'm just missing that part of the story, but we're so into like, oh, borders, and, you know, and we have to just make sure that there's jobs for Americans and homes for Americans and food for Americans and America first. And you can't just have a borderless world. Fine, but humans have been migrating since the dawn of humans. We've always been migrating in search of something better. That's just what people do. And we're the ones that kind of came here and said, border. Like, this isn't our land, white people. There were no white people when we got here. So this is all imaginary to begin with.
That's the problem, right? Is that if we talked about what's really going on and why, how it all started, we would have to talk about colonization and take the blame, for things that white people have done over the course of many centuries. And we would also have to, not to get like too into history, but we would have to take the blame for things that have happened in South America, Central America, in our lifetime. That is the direct fault of the American government. And that's why we're not talking about it. That's why it's all just like, America first, and we're not here to help other countries. We have our own problems.
You can't paint over termites. You have to get in there and see what's going on and fix it. And these are human beings, for
also,
God's sake.
I would like to know, because I'm 32 years old. I'm assuming that you guys are younger than me.
Yes.
Just by your flawless skin. But and you as well. But I would just like to know, because I feel like as a 32-year-old, I feel helpless but then I see like teenagers and like younger people, like, do you think that that's like a common swell in your guys' age group as like more activism, or do you as like a result of frustration of seeing like inaction in people and older, or is it just like, I guess that's my question.
I mean, I think yes and no. I think the first vote that I ever cast was for Hillary, and so that was a big kind of disappointment for me. I didn't, that was kind of my big exposure to government and to kind of the political system as a whole, and so this is kind of crazy to watch because I'm old enough to really understand what's going on, and I think on one hand, it was like so devastating. I was in a political science class my freshman year of college, and there were these two guys who were super Republican, super assholey, and just leading up to the election would just like go. We weren't even talking about the election. We were talking about like theorists, and would just kind of like bash, Hillary Clinton for being a woman in politics, for being like just constantly
being ambitious.
Sit behind my friends and I, and like the whole time just and after the election I was like, shit, I do not want to go and have to be in this class with these people. And so I think, and then after, they said something and my friends and I both at the same time like turned around and we were like, could you please be quiet? And then it was like, why did it take us the whole semester to do that? But I think then, the Women's March came and we all went. And like the feeling of everybody going and doing something, and then there were all these things on campus that, we got became a part of. I ended up becoming involved in politics on campus and trying to kind of do something. So I felt like I was doing something, so I could see some change in something, and, I just think, for young people, not that I want to be speaking on behalf of all young people, but at least for me, I want to feel like even if I don't see the immediate change, even if I don't see any change at all, I have to do something. So if it's going to a march, if it's, using like ResistBot, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but it helps you kind of contact a congressperson.
What's it called?
ResistBot. It's so amazing. Yeah, you can go and you can go online, or you can do it on your phone, and it helps you text your congressperson. It like is a bot that will respond to you and then formulate a letter, and then it just sends it. It's amazing. And so to feel like, voting in the midterm election, like whatever you can kind of do to know that when it does matter, if it does swing in the other direction, if you can kind of do something like that, is what matters. Yeah, ResistBot. It's so
I think it's important that everybody take part so that we can all feel like we're empowered, and
you just have to do
something.
You can't feeling helpless or overwhelmed or hopeless in times like this is not. It's the worst feeling ever. So just to do something.
And the truth is, like, everybody can be a part of the solution, especially if you feel like the policies that our current government are enacting are dangerous, cruel, and destructive, and dismantling of our democracy. If you feel like you do not approve or agree with the policies that this current administration is applying to our health and safety and the health and safety of everyone, then do something about it. And the best thing that you can do is to flip districts. And you can do that by, as we get closer and closer to November, like actually going and volunteering in the office, because now that the June primaries are done, there is a Democratic candidate in each district. If you happen to be a Democrat, or you happen to feel like voting Democratic will help solve this Trump problem. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm most worried about is a feeling of inevitability about corruption in politics setting in. I'm worried that maybe young people with this election are just feeling like, well, everyone in the Congress is corrupt.
So they throw
and,
up their hands and they say nothing I can
yeah,
do.
Like,
That's
that's
a
what
really
I'm
good
most
point.
worried about.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like what's happening right now in the Republican Party is just like truly disgusting. But the problem is that I don't feel like the Democratic Party is properly like mobilizing this incredible force for political activism that we have in the young generation. And so I just feel like they haven't done a good job of that since the election. And so what I'm really hoping for is, I mean, this is looking kind of far into the future, but I'm hoping that Bernie runs in 2020 because I feel like he really speaks to the young generation, and I want him to, ferment the political revolution that he's been talking about.
Yeah, and I agree with Bernie is great, and I really believe strongly that Democrats can't be fighting amongst ourselves about who's better, Biden or Bernie, because I would be happy with either one. So
Yeah, we can't have a Hillary Bernie situation.
Yeah,
again.
once we get really close to figuring out like who's going to be good, like it's like better, good. It's not the way that Russians seeded discontent or division. They pitted Democrats against each other, and that's part of there's like a million little different reasons why Trump won. One of them is that they poisoned Bernie supporters into believing that somehow the Democratic Party had shat all over him and therefore don't vote or go vote for Jill Stein. And that was in the end just as destructive. So whatever happens, don't just give up, as Aaron's saying, or don't just say they don't, this isn't progressive enough for me, so I'm not voting for anyone. You still have to vote for, sometimes you do have to vote for the person you hate the least. And that's just a part of being a citizen. You can't just give up. Yeah, do something. Politics may or may not be more important than Tinder. I don't know. It's up to you guys to decide. But
what do you think do you think it would be a good pickup line to be like, when you match with somebody, to be like, what do you think about what's happening at the border?
That would be
Your
a
pants.
Yes, that would be an excellent pickup line. like what's that game where you go like you'd sleep with them, you'd marry them, or you'd
F, marry, kill.
Yeah, you can do that for Bernie and Biden and Hillary.
I think we all know we'd all marry Biden.
I would
F
marry
him.
Biden tomorrow.
Oh, I'm gay as the sunrise, and I'd marry Biden.
Of course. Let's just have a Biden group marriage.
I don't know why I didn't say rainbow.
As the sunrise.
Yeah, as a sunrise. I mean, I don't know. Sunrises are pretty gay, but yeah.
You can be gay as a lot of different things.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
okay.
I feel like
You're pan-gay.
that analogy, like a pickup line, really just matters on how what people think about you. So people like me, so usually they laugh at whatever. I could be like, I'm gay as a spork, and the people would be like,
Maybe I would marry Hillary.
You'd marry Hillary. Okay,
And
go
then
ahead.
Maybe I would. I'm trying to really think this through.
You do have to
Because
give
I
it
would
some
be
thought.
it would be like a power couple, it'd be like,
Oh my God, it'd be so hot.
right?
Yeah.
And then that would be like a fun marriage, because then we could just like go be,
I'm
political
picturing
in the
you two at
world.
events.
Right?
Mhm.
Like such like great power suits.
Papa
F
hip.
Biden, and then I guess
You what Biden? Yeah, okay, I get it.
yeah,
Yeah. Can we say
you.
boink?
boink.
Boink the
Why
Biden.
say boink?
Boink.
Boink the
I-
Biden. Yeah.
I almost said Ivan for some reason.
Yeah.
That's grosser than the F word. That's funny.
"Is it? Do you guys want to have different? Do you guys want to have women on yours, or would it
I think
be,
we have to end the show at some
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking we could play this game with every single person. I think I would F Mitch McConnell.
Wow.
Let's just do the Republican. F Mitch McConnell, marry Paul Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, then at least you're willing to kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Republican is much easier.
And then
I would F Paul Ryan all day long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And-
All day.
but then could I kill him after?
Yeah.
Yes,
Like a praying,
Black Widow.
I think it's like praying mantis, Black Widow. There's a different game. Praying mantis, F and then kill. Black Widow, like, F and then
The
kill.
only one I'd marry would be like Jeff Flake. I'd marry Jeff Flake.
I would marry McCain because I feel like if anybody effed him, something bad would happen. So, like,
Yeah, and if you marry him now, you get to inherit all his money. Right?
yeah, and I get to be sister-in-law with his
Megan,
mother-in-law
yeah.
with his hot daughter. So I
Yeah.
could be like maybe get into that action.
I would totally marry young Hillary, like long hair,
Oh, yeah.
hippie glasses.
Yeah, she
that
was
the
cute.
best Hillary. in
When
my
she
was so
killed that
cute.
guy.
Like like Ivy League Hillary.
Yeah, that's the perfect Hillary.
Did she do that?
No, these are just the rumors that
Not
they start.
Pizzagate. Did she kill someone?
No, those
No.
are just
I mean,
that's
obviously she
part
didn't
of the
kill
alt-right
That's
conspiracy
part of the-
theory.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think we have to end the show. I wish I had like some closing thought that made everyone just go, "Aw, see you next week." I want to thank Aaron Linker, Lori Rockingamp, Jilly Halperin, Sean Lusk, Dina Friedman, John Maddox, Lane McFadden, and his hot Tinder girlfriend. And who's your hot Tinder girlfriend, Lori? Give a shout out.
Oh, Star.
Star!
Yeah.
I'm Louise Palanker. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends. We love you, and we will see you next week on Things I Found Outline.